more over here at HTM Sports. How's everybody doing this evening? Just wanted to tap in with y'all. Have a little bit of evening cowboy talk. We done talk. You know, all about the playoff scenarios. We done talked all about the upcoming game. We pretty much done beat this dead horse, man. So I don't want to talk about that today. I really want to talk about Dak Prescott right now. And some of the unwarranted hate that he's getting over the course of the year. He's really having an underrated season. In fact, I would go as far to say this is probably one of the best seasons that Dak Prescott has ever had as a starting quarterback in the NFL. So, we're just going to break down some of the numbers so y'all can see why I've came to that conclusion, why I feel that way. I know a lot been made about those interceptions. And we're being honest, for me, that is really a non-factor right now. So, I appreciate everybody for tapping in. Like, share, subscribe for the content. We're trying to grow the channel. We're trying to reach 1,000 subscribers so we can get this mug monetized. And, once that's happening, we can get some more bells and whistles, improve the content. So I can invest back in the show, give y'all better quality. So, like, share, subscribe. I appreciate everybody for taking the time to tune in as I do this little Friday night show. And, we'll just go from there. So, to start off, I really mean it. Like, Dak Prescott is having a hell of a season. And, it really just, he's really been playing at an elite level since he came to the league. Because, I seen a stat earlier today when I was online. I spend a lot of time online, have an office job. I have a lot of time to, just cruise the internet or whatever. So, what I actually did see is if Dak Prescott reaches 185 passing yards in this game Sunday, he will be the third fastest player in NFL history to get to 25,000 yards. All right. He will tie Peyton Manning. He will tie Jared Goff. And he will also tie Kurt Warner for reaching 25,000 yards in 97 games, I believe it was. So, like, the only guys that are ahead of him are Matthew Stafford, and I forget the other guy. But, when you're in a company like that, you've been playing damn good football. And I get it. Patrick Mahomes is going to blow that record out of the water eventually because he's already at 24,000 yards at only 79 games. He's going to blow everybody's record out the water. But, just for Dak Prescott to be in that company, a lot of guys do not even view him as a natural thrower of the ball coming into the league. It just shows you how productive Dak Prescott has been as a starting quarterback. Once I saw that, that really got me to thinking, like, yeah, Dak Prescott having a damn good year, especially given the context. Hey, Richard Evans, man. Hey, I appreciate you tapping in with me. Like, share the content to get some more eyes in here. More people in here, better show we can have. I run my mouth a lot, but I like to hear what y'all be thinking. So, but yeah, man. So that really got me to thinking, man. Like, and I know a lot of people be talking about these interceptions. He's leading the league. He's tied for the lead in interceptions. He's only played X amount of games or whatever. But throwing raw numbers out there without context adds no value. In having healthy conversations about football. Without context, if we just told you Dak Prescott had 14 interceptions, you would think he's having a bad year. But when you look at all the other advanced stats and advanced metrics that he has, he's easily playing like a top 5 quarterback. So I'm gonna go through some of these numbers. And after we get through this, it's gonna be pretty apparent that Dak Prescott is not having a down year. So let's discredit this interception talk first and foremost. So Dak Prescott has 14 interceptions. That is true. But when you look at the advanced analytics, 7 of his interceptions came on plays that were considered non-turnover worthy. And that actually means that a turnover worthy play is a play that's on the quarterback, basically. So that means he made a bad throw, he made a bad read. He is the one that is at fault, for the interception. So let's say he overthrew a ball and it hit the safety in the chest or something, or he made a bad read and he threw the ball into double coverage and it got picked off. That is a turnover-worthy play. A non-turnover-worthy play, that means the receiver is at fault. That means either they ran the wrong route or the ball hit them in the hand, hit them in the chest, it got deflected, and the defensive back got it. So 7 of Dak's 14 interceptions came on non-turnover-worthy plays. So literally half of his interceptions are not his fault. You know what I mean? Like, I know that 14 interceptions at the end of the day are 14 interceptions. But if Dak Prescott had all these other numbers that we're going to get into and only had 7 interceptions on the year, you know, everybody would be looking at Dak Prescott in a different light. So, you know, we just only looked at the 7 interceptions that he was responsible for. Then, you know, like, Dak Prescott in totality would look like a better player, you know, at least from untrained eyes. But, you know, I hear a lot about the interceptions. They never talk about the touchdown passes. There's a reason that we are averaging 35 points per game. And since week 7, when Dak Prescott came back from a thumb injury, he has thrown 22 passing touchdowns and has accounted for 23 touchdowns total. To put that in perspective, a guy like Daniel Jones, who has played all year, only has 22 total touchdowns in 16 games. All right? You put it into perspective, a guy like Jalen Hurts, I know he was injured. He's been injured the last 2 games, but Dak Prescott has the same number of passing touchdowns as he does. You know, at one point, Dak Prescott had caught up to Justin Herbert and Tom Brady in passing touchdowns. So, you know, like, he has been very productive in the short amount of time that he's been playing. You know, saying Dak Prescott, this is only going to be his 12th game of the season, and he's still tied for 11 in passing touchdowns. And really, 22 is the 8th most, you know, passing touchdowns in football. There's technically 10 guys ahead of him, but, you know, there's a lot of guys that are tied with 27 touchdowns here and there. Whoop-de-woo, whoop-de-woo. So, you know, the 22 is actually tied for the 8th most, but there's 10 people ahead of him, if that makes sense to you. So you have that kind of production. You have a guy right now who, since week 7, when he came back from that thumb injury, is completing 71% of his passes. All right, that is insane. Like, to put it in perspective, Drew Brees is the most accurate quarterback in NFL history. And, you know, he didn't complete 70% of his passes for a season. You know what I mean? Now, Dak Prescott, you know, cumulatively is second in completion percentage for the year. He's behind only Geno Smith, who is completing 70% of his passes. Dak Prescott is completing 69% of his passes. So that is a great company to be in. Like, he is throwing a lot of touchdowns. He's one of the most accurate guys with the ball right now. So you really can't just say Dak Prescott is having a bad year. He is playing great football. You look at all these advanced stats. You got the QBR. He's top 5 in QBR, just raw QBR. He's top 5 in that metric. He's ahead of guys like Tom Brady. He's ahead of a lot of these guys that people, you know, put as upper echelon quarterbacks right now in a lot of these event metrics. The only thing that is stressing people out are the interceptions. And, you know, we've been over that. Half of those are not even his response, or not even his fault, you know, if we're being honest. Like, you look at the interception that he threw to Noah Brown. The ball hit Noah Brown in the hands and the chest, ricocheted to a defender. Or you look at the last game, you know, he found Peyton hitting the shot wide open down the middle of the field. Ball hit him perfectly in stride. He bobbled the ball into the hands of a defensive back. There's been several instances like that throughout the course of the year. So, you know, like, people that don't like the Cowboys, of course, they don't want to hear that. You know, they're happy that Dak Prescott has thrown 14 interceptions, but, you know, it's fool's gold. Like, even now, with Dak Prescott leading the league in interceptions, he is still top 8 all time in touchdown to interception ratio. So he is one of the best quarterbacks in not turning the ball over all time. So, you know, like, it's an outlier. It's something that's going to correct itself, you know, as the receivers become more sure-handed, you know, as they build more rapport with Dak Prescott. A lot of these miscues are going to stop, because Dak Prescott has never been a high-volume turnover guy. No, that is not his game. But Dak Prescott, everything else is part of the course. He's throwing a lot of touchdowns. Saying the last two full seasons that he played a full season pretty much in 2021, even though he missed one game, and he played a full season in 2019. He's thrown for over 30. He threw for 30 touchdowns or more. Accounted for over 30 touchdowns in those years. Him throwing the 22 in an 11 game period. That is what Dak Prescott does. He scores a lot of touchdowns. He scores a lot of points. So that's why you can look at Dak Prescott and you can have a conversation for him being a top 5 quarterback right now, just with his level of play. So interceptions not too bad. QBR great, top 5. Then when you actually think about it, Dak Prescott, he's done everything you could ask him for. The man came back from a thumb injury early and has been one of the most productive quarterbacks in football. You know what I mean? Like, he has single-handedly turned the 26 scoring offense in football into the number 1 scoring offense in football. Like, having a guy like that on your team, you can't say that he's not a top 5 quarterback right now. Like, disregard interceptions. Like we already said, half of those are not his fault. You can't look at all these other numbers that he has and then come away thinking that he's a bad quarterback. So, this wasn't intended to be a long show anyway. I just had to get that off my chest. So, like, y'all are sleeping on Dak Prescott. He is one of the better quarterbacks in the league, and he deserves some damn respect. This is a guy who's one of the winningest quarterbacks in football since he became a starter. This is a guy who is one of the most accurate quarterbacks in NFL history, judging his completion percentage. This is a guy who is one of the best not turning the ball over in NFL history, judging, going by the numbers. So, it irritates me a little bit that fan bases with lesser quarterbacks, fan bases who play Dak Prescott regularly and can't beat him, have a lot to say about it. So, I just had to get off my chest real quick. I'll be going live a little bit later on, dropping more content. Just wanted to get that off my chest real quick. I appreciate y'all for tuning in.